Hey guys, welcome to our first guide on this channel. Today we're gonna talk about Lalo. We're gonna start with the Queen Charge Lalo because that's the easiest to break down, especially for beginners who want to practice the Lalo. I'm gonna explain a few things, then I'll go in the game and I'll show a few replays. I will attack live myself on an FC. And yeah, we'll see how it goes, and I'll point out my own mistakes that I make that you can learn from. I will try to give a few tips when I play myself. And yeah, so we're gonna start with the basics. And the basics of the Lalo are pretty simple. We will use as few troops and heroes, but to create a good pathing for the Lalo. But we should also not be too greedy, because in most of the cases it's worth to put in that extra spell, that extra troop or whatever for the to create the pathing, because not having a good pathing for the Lalo ruins the whole attack. When we talk about Lalo pathing, we always look for the same thing. We always try to get an L shape on the base, like this, or like this, or like this obviously, and then like this. Those are all the L shapes we can create here, and that's what we're trying to do. Why we want that L shape? I'll make it pretty simple. I'll use this as an example. We will try to make that as slim as possible for our loons, so we want to create an area like this, and then here like this, where our loons can fly through. We're gonna remove this line real quick. That's where our loons will or are supposed to fly through. Why we want the L shape is because in the L shape we can control our loons pretty fast. In the beginning of the Lalo, we always start on one side. We can pick here. We can either take the 2:30 o'clock side like this, or we can pick the 9:30 side from here. That's where we're gonna start dropping our main group of loons that are supposed to. Let's use the 5:30 side as an example. The loons are we're gonna start dropping two groups of loons to get rid of those buildings, the cannon, the archer tower. And we're gonna have to think, we need to place enough loons for this first group of loons to at least get over the scatter shot towards the town hall. So what we're gonna do is we have to place, on average for the warden group, you place like 12 to 15 loons just for the warden group. So what we would do is we need 3 loons to one-shot those 2 buildings, which is always our goal. So we will place 5 loons here, 5 loons here, and we can erase the 3s because they'll get one-shotted. Then obviously we're gonna play a hound through there too, 5 loons there, then we have 10 loons going. Then in order to keep the funnel tight, we would need to take out this cannon, this archer tower, and then obviously all the buildings over here that we will get to later. So we will try, or what we will do is we would drop 3 loons here, so the cannon gets one shot, they join in on the mortar, and while those fly, then we have 30 loons deployed that would fly something like this, then those come together, then they go here on the wizard tower, sweeper, and then we have to take care of that archer tower right here. So what we would need to do is we would need to drop at least another 3 loons, which means we would be deploying 16 loons that calculation to get here and one-shot the scatter. What we have to consider is that we usually, with the Queen Charge Lalo, we do not have as many loons. So in this case we would place 16 loons here and we would have about 4 to 6 loons left depending on the army. So what we would need to do is we would have to find a better way to funnel this, and we would need to find a way to reduce the loon groups you have to place. Because after we place those 16 loons, we have nothing for the blue area that I marked already to funnel. So we have to scrap the whole plan. And we have to think, okay, we have our L shape here. How can we make our L shape even easier for our loons? And the simple answer to that is we turn our L shape into an I shape. So we would cut off this whole side too, with something like spells, heroes, whatever we can invest in that, siege machines, whatever we can find. Once we see that, let me mark that blue actually, and then erase this. Once we see that we can actually take out all this blue thing and only need to Lalo from here, from 6 to 9-ish, then we can see that our loon deployment becomes way easier, because we do not have to have such a straight funnel. The only thing we have to try and get is get the loons on the path. And we're gonna do this and this, and we're gonna open up this. We're gonna zoom in here at the bottom, and then we can see we need to drop loons here. Nope, not there. Here for the cannon, some here for the wizard tower. Then under the attack button there's no building, that I can already say that. Then we need something here for the archer tower, cannon, wizard tower. For our loons to go then here, they would, depending on how fast we can take the wizard tower down, they would go here, here, here. They would go from the cannon to the wizard tower too, onto this, then split here. And that would give our loons only one chance to go, which is the town hall, where we want them, because we need the town hall taken out. I'm gonna scrap that, zoom out. And so now that we know that we can actually drop on all those defenses to get to the town hall, we have to think, okay, after the town hall, what has to be funneled? After the town hall, we need to go here. We need this builder hut gone, because if that's not gone, we'll have a loon split over the town hall, then our whole attack is ruined again. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to actually also funnel that builder hut away, like which I will cover in the plan later on. So after the town hall, our loon would go here, here over the scatter, split maybe here, and then they would either split further here, and then here, and those would go here, which we don't want. We want them on one path, or inside the pathing, inside the eye shape that we have here. So we will need to do this. We'll have to funnel out the cannon, archer tower, and then we can send the loons in, and they would go wizard tower, mortar, here, 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 and they would stay kind of together. And the other benefit of keeping the base this small, if we take those lines back again, and we just erase all the drawing again so you can understand this better. If the base is this small, and we think of the average spell size of a freeze, of a haste, just like this, maybe. It's a bit too small, but the average spell size is about the size of this eye. So wherever we place a spell, if it's a haste or a freeze there, it would cover all 3 to 4 buildings that are in our way. If we now take all that out, we zoom out, and we take a look at this top part here. Let's say someone would like to start the Lalo at the top here, here, here. We would see that this is a very wide area the loons go into. So if we look at the spell sizes we have, we could cover those 4, but then we have no spells for the other side. So we would need 2 spells here, most likely 2 spells here, and then here it would only be 1 spell again. So that's another advantage of having the base as slim as possible. And that's what we're always trying to find. We're gonna go back. We're gonna try to get an L or an I. Once we have that figured out where it would be optimal to play that L or I, we will go over to how can we actually create that. But how do we do this now? So there are a few things how to play the Lalo. We can do Blizzard Lalo, Queen Charge Lalo. We can do a normal Sui Lalo. We can use a Skelly Donut as an opening for the Sui. We can use Zap Quakes. Whatever you can come up with can work. So why do we choose a Queen Charge Lalo in the beginning? The Queen Charge is probably the most, well, maybe not the most, but one of the most common used game concepts in attack strategies, because there are so many follow-ups to play and a lot of attacks require Queen Charges. So in order for us to learn the Lalo, it's always the easiest to use something that we might know from other strategies, or that we might need in other strategies. And the Queen Charge is also something that can get us a lot of value. So before we start with the Queen, there's something in the game that is very overpowered and unbalanced, and it's called the Flame Flinger, as most of you already know. And the Flame Flinger outranges most buildings except mortars, expos, mortar, expo. And as we can see in this space, we have the mortars quite on the outside. So let's say this mortar covers all of this area here, probably a bit more. We have this area covered and this area covered. This other area, maybe that's a bit big. This area covered and this area covered. Let's say something like this. That one was a bit too big, but I think everybody knows what I'm trying to say here. There's not much value for a Flame Flinger to get, because at some point the Flame Flinger will always drive into one of those ranges. So there are a few options to prevent that, which we'll talk about now. The first option to prevent the Flame Flinger from actually running into that is pretty simple, and that is just tanking for the Flame Flinger. So in case of this mortar here or here, here or here, we can always, for example, play Queen Charge, or we can also just place a Yeti, something to distract the mortars to take them down and then go further into the base. As we can already see in this base, taking out these mortars is pretty hard. So we could take out those 2 backhand mortars here, but what will that actually get us? We'll have to invest quite a bit, or maybe Yeti would be enough. We might need a bit more than a Yeti to keep them tanked, but in the end we would actually need to take those 2 out, that out, and then we would get to the multi. So the only value our Flame Flinger would get, with support of loons and a bunch of other troops to distract the mortars, that's like not much. We would get a multi, 2 mortars, a cannon, a wizard tower and an archer tower, because once that whole row here is down, or that whole pizza slice, let's call it the pizza slice. Once that is down, the flame flinger will drive into the king's range most likely, and that's something we do not want because it's obviously gonna die super fast. Yeah. So that corner is already out of the plan. If we check for the other corners now, so we have a mortar here, so we have this corner to look at. Let's do it like this and like this. If we look for flame flinger value here, we obviously see this compartment and this compartment. Scattershot, Wizard Tower, Sweeper, very good value to get with the flame flinger for our Lalo. What does actually prevent us from getting there? So there are a bunch of buildings in the way. We're going to use red now here. We have the mortar, obviously. Let me actually circle this. We have the mortar here. The mortar is protected by, so protected means that we can't just easily snipe it out. Protected by the cannon, archer tower, this little builder hut. So there are 3 buildings, probably more 2 because we don't necessarily need that archer tower here if we drop the loons correctly. So there are at least 2 buildings protecting the mortar from getting sniped out. And to farm out those buildings we have to invest a lot. We will need something to snipe out the cannon, which is most likely loons, or a baby dragon could work. We will need something else, most likely loons or yeti to get the builder hut too, and then we will need loons to fly in for that mortar if we wouldn't use our heroes. So the second option is to play it with the heroes or with the Queen Charge. The only issue there is that if we try to Queen Charge, we want to play the flame flinger in the opposite direction. So let's say we want to Queen Charge something like this, like this. Our flame flinger should go like this, because if the flame flinger just follows our queen here, there will be no value for the flame flinger to get. He might support her, get 2 or 3 shots out, but that's it. So there's no reason to play it behind. And if we look, if we want the flame flinger, how we drew him here, there's no value for him there. We can see he will die by the expo. What can he get? The wizard tower, archer tower, cannon, archer tower, maybe this air defense, and we invest a whole siege and clan castle troops for that already. So that's also wasted. The same goes for the other side. So now we look at the corner here. 2 expos, and the expos are covering the area for a flame flinger. So do those cannons and this archer tower. So there's no way for us to place the flame flinger if we don't place anything to tank. And if we look at what's there, we have single, 2 expos, not more single target damage here, and there's no troop in this game except the Queen Charge, or not even the Warden couldn't keep up with that, so we could only do a Queen Charge into there. And as we can see, we do not want to charge into 3 storages that protect the single, so there's also no flame flinger value there. So we can cut the flame flinger out of our whole plan. Next siege that we can look into is a blimp. Blimp is the weakest siege machine that you can use for this Lalo. Better options would be actually a log launcher for the Queen Charge or a slammer. In this case I went for the slammer, and we're not gonna go in depth why we chose that because it's just gonna cover too long. Just wanted to get the basics for the flame. To our eye that we found that is the best for us to path our loons for. And now we have to check how can we go there. And as we can already see here, I'm gonna take this red this time. We can reach multi, the Warden, Eagle, 2 air defenses, 2 expos, the Queen and the RC, if we get into the eagle compartment. So the first thing in my mind now is, okay, how can I get into the eagle compartment, and what troops and spells do I need? And it's pretty obvious to see that we can just Queen Charge in there because there's not much damage for our queen. We have our king here, we can use a headhunter for that. We have the warden that does a ton of damage combined with those buildings, but we can rage through that. And then we have the X-bow after that's down, RC, queen, and that's it from the damage. So what we can do is we can just charge into that and get at least this portion of the bay of that area, well, including the king, still like this, before we even start our Lalo. That will take me like a minute to charge, so we already are close to our I shape. So we're gonna let the queen do that, and while we start everything else, our queen would obviously go over here and help with the I shape. So now we still have this blue area left. So what can we do for a blue area? We still have a siege machine, we still have an RC and a king. And the simplest way to put that is that we have an open wall here where we can easily funnel our king in. Then we could use the royal champion for either this cannon, or we wait till the archer tower here is down, then we can place the RC here. So the RC focus on the mortar, then goes on to the mortar, air defense sweeper, scatter shot, and then the royal champion ability would get us this builder hut, get some damage on the scatter shot. That would be not an easy play to do, but definitely something that will help us, because if we go back to drawing our I shape, we would then have this shape here still left that we have to make smaller. The RC would in the end also probably with the king ability get those two, this wizard tower and this archer tower, so we would actually only have to worry about the eye part. And yeah, I'm gonna scratch that to make it more understandable. And so what we need to do down here is we have to see, okay, how can I make this eye where we have the opening here, where we have a wide opening like this, how can I make that slimmer? And the simple answer is you cannot just place loons everywhere, because the pathing will be messed up. If you look at it like this, if you place loons here, 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 and here, then we will run out of loons before we reach this. Because our loons here will eventually all die by wizard tower, the activate town hall, and those loons on the left side here, they will not have enough power to funnel that all away. Because keep in mind, we'll only have like 20 to 22 loons for this. So what we still have is, we use the queen, we use the king, we use the RC. We still have a siege machine. So what I would do in this case is actually, we would only start 3 groups of loons here, 2 loons here, and then we would use siege machine here, 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 here for that funnel. So our troops would clump up on the town hall again. Here, 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 something like that. And after the town hall, we can use the warden ability, haste out of that area, go over here, then have this, and then we would have those 2 buildings where we can save 1 or 2 loons to just drop on them once the others tank for, or once the main group of loon tanks for those 2 loons. Okay, that would be the plan I would do on that base. And it's not an easy plan, because what we will see when I go in the game is that we have a Tesla farm here and here, which will ruin the beginning of our Lalo, and which will make the Lalo extra hard, but we're still gonna try that, and we'll just see how it goes. I'll go in game and then I'll be back. So yeah, we're in the game now. We're gonna look right into our first replay. We talked about the plan a few minutes ago, or for you just right now ago. And we're gonna see the queen starts, walkers, the healers to the left, baby dragon for the funnel. Wall break, so we get into that big compartment. We're just waiting for the queen to step in, or to walk down and tank this cannon down here. And yeah, while we walk, we can already look how the funnel is looking. We will have to funnel those 3 buildings, essentially maybe only those 2. And we're gonna watch the queen just taking out the dark barracks, and we're just gonna wait. Now the can tanks, king comes in, we'll search for the army camp to speed that up a bit. Sneaky goblins down here for the funnel. King steps in. And the wall break now that we talked about, and we're going to delay the RC. The RC joins us now. And we're gonna see perfectly the RC takes on the archer tower. Goes down to the scatter shot. We're gonna start the Lalo early here, the bottom part, while the RC, or we freeze the town hall. RC steps to the bomb tower, goes towards the town hall. We freeze the town hall again. Now rage on the town hall warding ability, and we'll see the RC is taking care of this multi-inferno while our queen ability is popped. And we're using the haste for the last few defenses, and we can already see it's gonna get quite close, but we still have RC and ability and the invisibility spell. And yeah, now it's just a matter of time. We're gonna 2 times this, actually 4 times, and that's this attack. So we see this base right now, and there are a few things that I'm gonna try to do here. I am gonna try to use the benefit of having the town hall in a line with other defenses. So we have this straight line here, doesn't matter which side we do it, and everything else can be used as a wider entry. We could still add this side, we could turn this I into an L here, or obviously the other way around, which I didn't do in the end. I tried to have that I, but yeah, you'll see what I'll do. My heroes will actually try to take this base down. I want my queen to actually go through to one of these scatter compartments, and I want my king and the RC to take care of the other one, and we'll just get into it and see how it went. I'm gonna delete this off the screen, and I'm gonna play this. We're gonna see how it went. I'm gonna talk about what I thought, and yeah. As you can see, time is ticking down. I took all the time to think about it. Placed 1 loon. I'm gonna try to have my queen pick either direction. She's going to the right. I'm gonna try to get into the CC to get the CC pull, get the core out, get 2 multis, get to the eagle. That's just a lot of value that will make it easier. And even if we didn't get this slim, even if we had this eye That could have been a lot of we can do. But it would obviously probably not have been enough loons to 3-star this. So yeah, the king starts at the bottom side for this compartment, so the queen actually goes into the core and not here further to the left. King and flame flinger actually, so the flame flinger can drive up. Looking back, the flame flinger wasn't the smartest decision to take, because there's not much value you can get. I'll use the king ability to keep my queen in the funnel, to get her go to the eagle, and then afterwards to get her to pick, or I wanted her on the right side, on the right scattershot side, and as we can see, lots of bombs triggering on the healers. She'll not go to the right scattershot side. We will have the whole right side up. The flame flinger is now actually going behind all 3 heroes, and we can see it got barely any value. So the flame flinger was a whole waste in here, and sometimes those decisions happen, especially if you have 30 seconds to plan your hit. That can happen. We can see the loon groups coming in as we planned them. Freeze over the town hall. Now the warden, we didn't get all our loons, which was pretty bad. We lose a few over the town hall, and yeah, we freeze this compartment, rage over there to get through that as quick as possible. And then we still have the whole flame flinger that barely got anything. In RC, the king is up, the queen is still up. That's an easy 3-star, and it just shows that creating those eye with our heroes and investing a bunch of spells, even if needed, it usually pays off. We're going to go to another replay. This one is a max tunnel 14, and we're gonna have a similar approach. We're gonna use our queen to initially choose either side, so it's either the right or the left side, but she's gonna walk here in the middle. So yeah, we're gonna look into this space now, and we'll have a kind of similar approach on this space, and we will try to have our queen walk up. We can already see the arrows. Walk up here. We will try to get the king to, let me make sure we set this. Queen up here. The king is supposed to do some cleanup here. We want our flame flinger for this, and we're going to use the royal champion to make this funnel a bit slimmer. And then we have loons here, here, here. We'll place some here, and then we can hopefully get them all here into the town hall, some hopefully here in the core, and then yeah, let's actually put the arrows here. That's the plan. That's what I came up with in the 30 seconds I had in the friendly challenge clan, and let's see how it played out. You see our queen started, and we can already see that it's quite hard to get her into this way where we wanted her to go, into this direction, because there's so much value here, or some, not value, but buildings there. So I had to place the king early, and you can already see he's low life, and yeah, he's already gonna die soon. We placed the flame flinger in the bottom corner here, over the bar, under the troop bar, and we can see the queen is doing her job so far. Flame flinger is going where he's supposed to go. Now it's just a matter of waiting. We're gonna wait a bit here, and now it already looks like our queen might go to the left, but we're lucky. The air defense right here drops from the flame flinger shot radius, and she's walking up where we wanted her. We have to rage early because of the multi and the queen, and yeah, now we're just gonna wait till the flame flinger goes a bit further, and then we're gonna try to get the scatter with the RC. Now we're placing the RC and we're facing the enemy RC, so I'm placing an invis and the headhunter already tried to get her out. Obviously the RC goes back, that was my mistake, and we're not gonna get a scatter shot as we can see in a second ability, but the X-Bot's gonna take us out. In the meanwhile our queen loses the healers to the eagle, she gets the queen and scatter from the other side, so everything's okay. Now she has to deal with the Ice Hound. We are starting the Lalo at the top. See how it goes. Way too many loons on the archer tower, but now they're splitting very good. We will have to freeze the town hall once, and that's already it. We're gonna place the rage to get all buildings faster and haste out of the town hall poison. We get some loons on the multi, meanwhile our CC pops, and we start the cleanup. We get a bunch of loons on the eagle. We freeze the last expo to have as many loons survive as possible. Now it's just a matter of time till all of this goes down. Please let me know if the guide was helpful for you. Just comment it down below. If you have any questions, you can just ask me in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, it's in the description. You can just join and reach out to me. If there's any advice you have for guides or other videos in the future, anything you would like to see, you can also just comment that. And yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.